13 deaths, 48 hours of gameplay, and one soul-crushing loss on the final boss. On March 5th, Slay the Spire 2 finally dropped, and I decided that I wasn't going to stop until I beat all 10 Ascensions. If you've never played, the premise is simple. You pick a character, build a deck of cards, and try to climb a living tower without dying. You find relics, which are passive items that strengthen your character, and you unlock new cards to make your character a walking engine of destruction. Ascensions are the game's secret, and there's 10 of them. Every time you win, you unlock a new Ascension. They stack, they compound, and they turn a fun card game into a math-induced nightmare. Now I have nearly 700 hours on the first Slay the Spire, and I've gotten all 46 achievements. I thought my foundation was solid. I thought I'd breeze through this. I was so confident that I decided to record every single run until I beat all 10 Ascensions. I was wrong. This game isn't just a sequel, it's a trap. And this is the story of how I almost lost my mind trying to beat Slay the Spire 2. Ascension 0 was a cakewalk. The challenge wasn't the enemies, it was all the data, learning new attack patterns, relics, and card interactions. But the core of Slay the Spire hasn't changed. To beat the higher levels, I had to stick to the fundamentals. First, keep the deck lean. Strikes and defense are late game clutter, so we remove them early and often. Second, pathing is everything. I hunt elites for relics and heal only if I'm desperate and low HP. Act 1 is the DPS check. If you aren't upgrading your attacks, the boss will end you before you even start. Third, don't sleep on potions. They are the ultimate get out of jail free cards when you hit a bad draw. Simple enough for a warm up, but as the Ascension stack, the game stops being a card game and turns into more of a mathematical nightmare. After Ascension 0, the game started tightening the screws. Ascension 1 floods the map with swarming elites, mini bosses that drop the best loot but are now everywhere. Ascension 2 through 4 gut your resources. You heal less, find 25% less gold, and even lose a potion slot. At this stage, my 700 hours of foundation held up. These were just the speed bumps. At Ascension 5, the real game begins. You're permanently cursed with the Sender's Bane. Since Slay the Spire 2 only has 10 Ascensions, the difficulty ramps up twice as fast as the original. It clogs your draws, forcing you to adapt to a thinner margin for error. Luckily, it gets exhausted at the end of your turn. Overall, not the worst setback. Ascension 6 and 7 make the map meaner. Fewer res sites and worse card rewards force you to win with ugly decks. I had to scrap for every win, leaning on high damage synergies like Perfected Strike and Tremble just to stay ahead of the math. I did find one silver lining, the Imposter Merchant. Can you spot the difference between them? If you toss a foul potion at the Imposter, he doesn't give you gold, he throws hands. Beating him for his entire inventory, then robbing him of all his gold was the only thing that made Ascension 8 feel like a fair fight. Ascension 9 was a brutal stat check, where Demon Form was my only saving grace. But finally, I was there. One goal remained. Ascension 10, the double boss. This is where the fun ended. All of the previous Ascensions were just a warm-up for this. Ascension 10 is the wall. To win, you have to beat 2 Act 3 bosses back to back. No healing, no breaks. Just you and the Spire's final defenders. I thought run 12 was the one. I won against the Act 1 boss with literally 1 HP. Clawed my way back with a deck built on sacrifice, using Offering and Brightest Flame to trade my own life force for enough power to reach the top. I made it to the final gates with 59 HP, the first of the 2 bosses, the test subject. Phase 1 and Phase 2 were a surgical success, but they drained me. Phase 3. He's swinging for 33 damage. I have 32 health, 1 point short of a death sentence. He's intangible, so I can't kill him. I can only pray to block. I played every defensive card in my hand to buy 1 more turn, and the Spire answered with a 45 damage hit that I couldn't possibly stop. 12 attempts, 48 hours, and I was 1 turn away from glory. This wasn't just a loss, it was soul-crushing. And then Run 13 happened. We don't talk about Run 13. Run 14. After 13 soul-crushing deaths, I stopped trying to be clever. My new strategy? Start hitting things. Hard. The climb started with a gift from the merchant, Perfected Strike. It's a simple card. The more strike cards that are in your deck, the harder it hits. By the time I left the shop and finished the next combat, I already had 2 copies. The foundation was set. We're going for a Perfected Strike build. Then, the Spire gave me the ultimate safety net, Pantograph. This relic heals you before every boss fight. In Ascension 10, where you fight 2 bosses back to back, this isn't just a luxury. It's the only reason I'm still standing at the end. To fuel the deck's engine, I snagged Pyre, a rare power card that grants extra energy every single turn. Now I could play both Perfected Strikes in one turn, and if Pyre is upgraded, still have energy left over to defend myself. I walked into the Act 1 boss with 64 HP thanks to Pantograph. By turn 5, my energy was overflowing, and by turn 7, the Kin Priest was history. I didn't know it yet, but the maybe was slowly turning into a definitely. The card reward shows Mangle, which is a hybrid between an attack and a defense card. Considering that we don't really have any great defense cards right now, this was the obvious choice to take, just to make our deck a little bit more balanced. Act 2 opened with a familiar face, the Ancient. It offered me a choice, and my eyes locked onto Brightest Flame. After seeing this card carrying me to the final boss in run 12, taking it was a no-brainer. I prioritized an immediate upgrade at the next rest site to maximize its energy generating power. The deck was strong, but consistency is a real killer in Ascension 10. I picked up a potion belt mid-act, a crucial safety net for those bad draw turns that usually end a Perfected Strike run. And then, it happened. The merchant had Hellraiser. This is the holy grail for this build. It auto-plays every strike card in your hand for 0 energy. This single purchase turned the run from a maybe into a definitely. The build was officially finished. I walked into the Act 2 boss with my core engine ready. Pyre for energy, and Hellraiser for free damage. The boss didn't stand a chance. By turn 4, he was down, and I was heading into the final act with a deck that felt like a cheat code. Act 3 is all about consistency. We pick up Seer Talon from the Ancient, which adds 3 copies of Wish to the deck. Wish is a 0-cost search engine. It allows us to pull Hellraiser, Pyre, or even Brightest Flame out of the deck exactly when we need them. The 2 curses it adds are a small price to pay for a guaranteed setup. We push deeper into the heart of the Spire, hunting for any final edge that we can find. And we find it in a rare enchantment event. We choose to buff the holy grail of the deck, Hellraiser. Now, when we play it, we also draw 2 extra cards to kickstart the autoplay engine. At this point, the Spire's protectors are just a formality. Every combat now just feels like a warm-up before we face the 2 final bosses. At the very last rest site, we make one final strategic play. We upgrade Wish so it gains Retain. This means that we can hold our search card in our hand until the perfect moment, rather than being forced to use it the turn we draw it. The deck is perfect. The engine is fueled. Only 2 names stand between us and Ascension 10. The Test Subject and the Queen. Either they crush our hopes and dreams, or we come out of this victorious. We start the final descent against the Test Subject. This boss has 3 phases, each one a massive jump in lethality. We have the perfect opening, Hellraiser and 2 copies of Wish. We immediately grab Brightest Flame and Pyre to finish the setup. With energy to spare, we shred through phase 1 before he even gets a chance to strike. 1 down, 2 to go. Phase 2 awakens, and Hellraiser is already putting in the work, passively pelting him with strikes. We pop a Flex Potion and Bloodletting for extra fuel, then use Bash to make him vulnerable. Next, we use Wish, grab Pummel Strike, play it, and that draws into Perfected Strike, which also gets automatically played. We're close. He's at 49 HP, but our hand is empty. We have a choice. Turtle up and play it safe, or gamble for an attack card. We choose the gamble. We drink our colorless potion, praying for an answer. And there it is, Volley. Since we have 4 energy left, and he's vulnerable, Volley hits for a massive 60 damage. Phase 2 is history. Now, the real fight begins. Phase 3 is angry, swinging for 33 damage, and to make it worse, he has Nemesis, meaning he's intangible every other turn. All damage we do is reduced to 1. We have no choice but to go full defensive here. playing Shrug It Off and Defend just to survive the turn. We take 12 damage. It's a bruise, but we're still breathing. Turn 4. The boss is at 193 HP. We have Volley in hand, but even with Vulnerable, it only deals 110 damage, so he'll survive with 83 health. We could use Mangle to reduce his damage to 35 this turn, but then we'd be left with 12 HP for next turn, and he'll be intangible again. If we don't kill him now, we're dead. Scrambling, we check the draw pile. It's a graveyard. Gambler's Brew won't help us here, so we look at our last potion, the Skill Potion. This is it, our literal Hail Mary. Everything rides on this. My heart is actually pounding. We pop the potion. Spire answers. Forgotten Ritual, Evil Eye, and 1-2 Punch. My eyes lock onto it. 1-2 Punch plays our next attack twice. We run the numbers. 110 damage, doubled. 220 damage is more than enough. We grab the card, play it with zero hesitation, and follow up with a massive volley. The test subject is silenced. One boss down, only the queen remains. This is it, the final obstacle. We're back at full HP thanks to Pantograph, but we're limping in with our supplies nearly exhausted. We burned through 3 of our 4 potions just to survive the test subject. All we have left now is Gambler's Brew. It's our last safety net, and we're going to need it. The opening hand is a dream. Hellraiser, Pyre, and Wish. We have the energy, we have the cards, and we have enough block to negate her opening 19 damage hit. But 48 hours of gameplay is catching up to me. I'm mentally drained. I hover the block, and then I just end the turn? A total lapse in judgment. Potentially fatal mistake. We take the 19 damage and move into turn 2. We use Wish here to grab Perfected Strike and finish off the Queen's minion. And then we close the turn by using Mangle on Queen for a little bit of chip damage. Turn 3. And the Queen is swinging for 30 damage. She also hit us with Bound, a brutal debuff that limits us to playing only one affected card per turn. Fortunately, Hellraiser is a hard counter. It plays our cards before they ever even hit our hand, bypassing that restriction entirely. We play Shrug It Off for 12 block, then use Wish to grab Brightest Flame for more power. But in hindsight, this was a massive blunder. If we had used Wish to grab Mangle instead, we could have completely negated her damage for this turn. Another mistake. Another 15 health gone. We're down to 27 HP, and the pressure is starting to feel suffocating. Turn 4. The Queen is at 173 HP, and she's attacking for exactly 27, our entire remaining life bar. We have no room for error now. We play every defensive scrap we have, surviving the hit but losing another 6 HP. We are down to our final 21. It's do or die. Turn 5. Queen is down to 118 HP, and we get a freebie. She isn't attacking this turn. This is our chance to close the gap. We play Brightest Flame, and the autoplay engine kicks in, hammering her down to 84 HP. We play Shrug It Off, praying for an attack card off the draw, but it's just a defend. We finish the turn with Mangle for a little bit of extra chip damage. She's at 69 HP left. The fate of the battle will be decided on the next turn. The final turn. Either we win now, or the dream dies. Hellraiser begins the assault. Perfected Strike, Setup Strike, another Setup Strike, Strike. The Queen is reeling. She's down to her last 18 hit points. We check our hand. Bash. It only deals 12 damage. We're 6 points short of glory. I sit here in total silence. Is this really how it ends? After everything? And then I remember. The Gambler's Brew. Our last potion, our last prayer. We have 4 cards left in the deck, and 2 of them are Perfected Strikes. It's a 50-50 shot. 1 click for the win, or 1 click to lose it all. I hold my breath, and play the brew. And the Spire provides! Perfected Strike hits the board, the Queen falls, and it's over. 13 deaths, 48 hours, but Ascension 10 is finally cleared. And that's it. Ascension 10 clear. 48 hours and 13 failed attempts culminated in a single 50-50 gamble that actually paid off. Slay the Spire 2 is everything I loved about the original, but more brutal, more unpredictable, and clearly way more stressful. The Ironclad is finally at rest, but the Spire never sleeps. There's a new shadow moving in the tower. And next time, we're going to see if the Silent can handle the climb. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos, and I'll see you in the next one.